James, you dead. James,
Cheeky.
you're dead. Oh, you're dead. Fired. We'll tell you in a second why James is fired. We'll tell you why James is tired. Why James is fired. Oh goodness.
Yeah, tell them.
Go
Bitcoin,
go Bitcoin.
Come on, Bitcoin. Come on, baby. Let's dance. Let's move. Let's pop.
It looks like you're right. It looks like it looks like that symmetrical triangle is going to break upwards. We're seeing that now.
We need it.
Also, you know what we're seeing here. Also, you see what we're looking at here. We're looking at Bitcoin printing a higher high finally on that 1 hour. So now we've got a whole sequence of higher lows, and we're starting to get that higher high on the 1 hour. That's what we're seeing in the chart, right?
Yeah, we are.
What else are we,
brother?
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
I don't know. We were talking this morning, and I'm still confused as hell. You tell me a certain chart going up is bullish, and I think it's like not bullish, and like you got some explaining. Like I need to understand it. So we got an important conversation to have.
All right, we've got a big show today. We're going to be talking about the Bitcoin chart, why this breakout actually was successful. We're also going to talk about the Dixie and how everybody's misinterpreting the Dixie. We're going to show you how to position your portfolios. We're going to give away 5 Solana phones, and we've got a whole lot of other stuff going on the show. So it's going to be a big show, and we're also going to tell you why we're laughing. Tell everyone why you fired. Tell everyone why you fired.
No, I don't feel comfortable explaining it, but what are these things? What do these two charts make you think of? What's making Rand's face look like that?
Who actually designed that chart? Oh, who actually designed that tile? I think him and James are fired.
I can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
You give me straight face.
No comment.
Did we not discuss before the show that this thumbnail here should be deleted off the face of the earth? Because anyone that sees this can never unsee it. Discuss it. Do we not discuss before the show that this gets deleted and that we replace it with this? I mean, I know it's funny, but it's not funny if you're the one in the front.
Oh, it's actually very funny.
Oh goodness! No, if you don't see Jimmy here tomorrow, you know why. you know, if there's a new guy replacing Jimmy tomorrow, you'll know why. I mean, I know it was gay month in last month, wasn't it? But this is a little over the top. I don't know.
Damn.
That's a little bit over the top. All right, welcome back, guys. It's been a rough morning here, as you can see. Been a rough morning here, but we are here and we're bringing. Guys, we're supposed to be doing a crypto show. Can we please do a crypto show? Can we please do a crypto show? Let's focus on crypto. Look, welcome back, guys. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you've been here for a while, and by the way, if you are new, it's not always like this. Usually, it's a lot worse. Today was a tame morning.
Dino's dropping the hammer.
All right, enough, and also enough. Hold on a second. Enough, and also enough in the comments. Enough, guys. Enough in the comments about that. It should never have happened. Yeah, for those of you who are new to the channel, it's not usually like this. Usually it's a very serious crypto channel, bring you crypto love and crypto wisdom. But today, I think Sheldon broke resistance.
That was surprisingly right.
So if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you're old to the channel and that offended you, unsubscribe. And otherwise, just like this content. Let's get this show out there. There's a big show today. Despite what all the non-serious stuff, there is something serious going on here. Sheldon was right. Bitcoin did break out of that symmetrical triangle. Bitcoin now printing a higher high on the 1 hour. So quickly, let's jump to the charts. Yeah, Sheldon, if you could just tell us what's behind your predictions.
Well, we got to make sure it's not a fake out first. So I think it's all fun and games, but we've been waiting for at least a little bit of a relief bounce from all the previous damage. So if there is one pattern that we do want to play out here, it would be the break. I spoke about it on the earlier show that this is actually a bearish pattern that was printing here. And 68% of the time, it does fall to the downside. And only 32% does it actually reverse. But the benefits of it reversing is it actually reverses very quickly. And it sort of makes sense, like the upside down bots and these sort of things. So for me, the market's taken such a hammering for the last few weeks. Some sort of relief bounce would have just made some sort of sense. And if we look at here, if we do get a breakout from this area over here, we can be looking at the market extending quite quick to the upside. It does need to get past 21, 22, 23. I think that's where the bears are trying to hold control. But so far, we're attempting that line right now. So we'll see in a little bit of time that we hold it and we actually really get some serious volume behind it. So I think we've gotten excited before, so let's not get crazy excited just yet. But this is a good sign. We took some longs this morning. That's looking good as well. So for now, it's looking good. We just really want to see explosion now. We want to see a really strong rip. And I think if we have a look here as well. Okay, and we got the dominance trending sideways. So it means it'll be a whole market explosion, not just a Bitcoin one, which is a good sign. And let me just get to the total dominance here. You can see how that's really starting to break out too. So right now, temporary pump, market's looking strong. We just want to hold the levels and we don't want to come back into that triangle. We don't want to do what the market's done many times. So all that I'll do is I'll track this up and I'll update again on a show tomorrow as well, get some stops into play and let's take it from there. I'm worried about the stock market. I don't trust it anymore. I feel like these pumps get somewhere.
Hold on. I'm going to show you today why I think everybody's looking at the wrong charts. I think it's all great that you can be looking at the Bitcoin chart and the total crypto market cap and the Bitcoin dominance chart. But I think that everybody's looking at the wrong charts. And I'm going to show you a few reasons that are actually going to confirm that actually the right chart to be looking at is the DXY chart. So we can carry on looking at the Bitcoin chart. That's great. But the only chart right now that matters is a DXY chart. And I'm going to show you what the DXY chart is showing us. And then I'm going to show you confirmations that I'm actually right about this. And
the DXY chart looks like a shitcoin in a bull market. Like it looks like it's like this is just going parabolic. Like look at this.
Great. And everybody's panicking. And everybody's panicking about it. But everybody's wrong. And I think I alluded to it yesterday. And I'm also going to show you. I'm going to show you also why this may be near the end of the bear market. So no, I don't make that statement lightly. I'm going to show you why I think we are heading to I think we've seen the bottom. I think I'm going to disagree with El Capo. He's saying 16 comes first. Maybe 16 comes first, but that's as low as it's going to go. And we're actually going to head straight into a recovery. And everything that I'm saying to you comes on the back of two things. The first reason why I think we're heading for a recovery is because of this. Because whenever Jim Cramer starts calling crypto bottoms and stuff, whenever Jim Cramer starts tweeting about crypto, you know that's pretty much a bottom indicator. He did it again.
It's really interesting. It's just that with the dollar this strong, almost every company that has any international business could have to guide down. So you have to be in domestic companies that are healthcare related, that do not have a problem with the president. And that's a very small group. That's McKesson, which of course is one of the best performing stocks in the first half. So, I mean, look, right now it looks like that everything's bad. And I'm not going to deny that every asset class is getting hurt. The one I'm most interested in is crypto. Because a lot of people are in crypto, and crypto really does seem to be imploding. But it goes from 3 trillion to 1 trillion. Why should it stop at 1 trillion? There's no real value there. NFTs. I mean, you look at these companies, there's these companies that you never heard of, and they blew up over the weekend. And you just say to yourself, holy cow, there's $600 million just going down the drain. And we had Gary Gensler, the chairman, on a few weeks ago, and he just said, look, anybody who has a come-hither rate of investment, you just, it's the rate that you earn, you can kind of forget about it. And that's what's happening.
All right.
Okay,
so he said two things there, and I think this is where a lot of people are misinterpreting the Dixie. Dixie is very strong at the moment.
Yeah,
as
it's
you can
concerning, Ran. Like for me, like I don't know. I'm not crazy about like the full understanding, but it's not good. I've always known that it's not good if this thing is just rocketing up. Like
this is
it means the dollar's strengthening. It means like people they'd rather be in the dollar than in assets. Like I don't know. For me, it's like if we want a recovery in crypto and we want these things, like we do want to reversal at this at some point. Like I'd love to know your opinion on like why.
This is the best thing in the world. Best thing in the world. Let me explain to you why. Cramer said it. Jim Cramer said it in that CNBC interview. Said the one thing we're going to see is that any company that is exposed to any overseas exposure is going to start suffering. That's the first thing that he said. And what you can see here is, for as long as the dollar index is going up, it means that things relative to the dollar are getting cheaper. So things that we price in dollars are getting cheaper. Oil priced in dollars, energy priced in dollars. What does it mean when the dollar index is going up? It means that the dollar index, that these commodities, oil, for example, which is up a little bit today, but generally has gone down from about 113 now back down to 103, is starting to come down. The next thing that's coming down is energy. So if you look at energy is now 27.8% off its 52-week high. So energy is also starting to come down. So you've got energy coming down, you've got oil coming down, you've got the stock market coming down because of the higher dollar. And what that means is that inflation has to follow. So inflation now has to follow the dollar. So the dollar's going up, energy is coming down, oil's coming down, therefore inflation has to follow. We get a bad inflation reading coming up now. We get a slightly better inflation reading coming up in August. In September, we get a very low inflation reading. I'm estimating September we get a 6.5, 6.2 inflation rate. What the Fed is doing seems like it's actually starting to work. And given that what the Fed is doing is actually starting to work, the Fed can actually take their foot off the brake. Now, Steve Leisman from CNBC was interviewed yesterday. Just listen to this, and I'll show you what you need to listen for.
May have contained a small bone for stock market bulls. Senior economics reporter Steve Leisman thinks he's found it. Steve.
This is about the minutes yesterday.
Hey, Melissa, yeah, you got to squint to see it, but there's a line in the Fed minutes that suggests all is not doom and gloom when it comes to the outlook for Fed policy. But before I get to that, I want to show you the doom and gloom that's in there for stock investors near term. The inflation fight is job one. The Fed is willing to accept slower growth, and the policy will go restrictive, meaning to go more restrictive if inflation remains out of control. The minutes suggest a hike of 50 or 75 basis points coming at the meeting later this month. Little of that bodes well for risk assets until you consider this statement from the minutes. Quote, after the Fed hits neutral or just a bit beyond, quote, the committee would then be well positioned to determine the appropriate pace of further policy firming and the extent to which economic developments warranted policy adjustments. In other words, there's no guarantee the Fed may have to raise rates to punishing levels, and some chance they may not. If you look at what Peter Williams from Evercore ISI wrote yesterday, quote, the silver lining for risk assets is that the committee underscored that as policy gets to the vicinity of neutral, it becomes more data dependent again. Now, if you think inflation is going to stay sky high, then all of this is just wishful thinking. If you think inflation could come down and the economy will cool quickly, maybe the Fed has less work to do. That's what the market looks to be pricing in. Take a look here. During the June meeting, the market saw the Fed going to 370 by year end. It's now priced at 336. The market was priced for a 410 funds rate in May 2023. But as Joe and you were talking about earlier, that's now priced at 340 because the world.
So what you can see is that the interest rate, the Fed, the 10-year government rate is actually now again below the 3%. So what we're saying, what we're saying now is that, hold on, inflation actually may start coming down and the Fed's actually not going to be that aggressive. How are markets responding to this? Well, look at the NASDAQ. So you look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was 2% up yesterday. Let me get you the NASDAQ today. It's another 2% up today. So if you look at the NASDAQ now, almost touching 12,000 again, 2% up today. This is on the weekly. Let's quickly go on the daily. 2% up today, 2% up yesterday, touching 12,000 again. Again, it bodes very, very well for growth stocks. One more thing. One more thing. When do I think that inflation is going to start coming down? I think in September. Remember, if people are buying cheap oil now, cheap energy now, cheap commodities now, it takes them a month or two to produce the goods and get into the store. When does the price actually go down? September, October, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens in September, October? September, October, you've got 65 days from now, you've got the ETH Merge.
Okay.
So you take 65 days from now, puts you July, August, sometime in September. Sometime in September, you get the inflation numbers. Sometime in September, you get the ETH Merge. ETH Merge now makes ETH a green asset, makes ETH a high-yielding asset. So all of a sudden, you start getting high yield on your ETH, and that starts bringing in institutional money into crypto. So I think that if you look at all of this data together, that I'm not saying we're going to hit all-time highs, but I think that the worst part of this bull market of this bear market is probably behind us. It could continue for a while, but I think when we get to September, it's going to start to go up. And that's exactly the same as if you look at Bitcoin. If you look at the last.
So let me just jump in like a sec. So obviously DXY going up like crazy the last few weeks is obviously, like you're saying, for the longer term view, it's actually a really good thing. I think short time frame it's still shitty because the markets are just not like reacting, or like we're just not getting, because surely if we have a NASDAQ breakout now, we have a Bitcoin breakout, like the DXY's got to come down at some point. So, ideally we do want to.
I think you're wrong. You're falling into the same trap as everybody else. So let's look at let's look at the DXY. Let's quickly call the DXY chart up, and let's look at the DXY in the last. I don't know. Let's take a time period. Let's take a time period of a month. Okay, so 6th of June to 6th of July. The DXY between the 6th of June and the 6th of July is up 2%, which means that anything priced relative to dollars gets priced down by 2%, right? So as a result of the increasing dollar, we can expect Bitcoin to drop by 2%, right? But how much can we expect it to drop because inflation is about to come down? Because a higher dollar means that oil is coming down, that commodity prices are coming down, much more than 2%. And so, yes, you're getting this 2% repricing, but also the fact that this is causing inflation to come down, and therefore the Fed to be a lot less aggressive is, for me, it's the best sign that I've seen in a long time. It's the best sign that I've seen in a long time. The stronger dollar has caused energy to reprice itself. Here's the price. Energy is down 27%. You can know for sure that if energy is down 27% and commodities are down 25% and oil is down 15%, 20%, inflation's coming down 20% or 30%. And if inflation comes down 20 or 30%, just because of supply side stuff, and then you also add to that the fact that consumers are spending less, I think in September we get a very low inflation number, and then that sparks a mini bull market in a bull market. Now, I want to just clarify why I say mini bull market in a bull market. Look at 2019 when we had the collapse. You can kind of argue that this was Luna, and then this year is Three Arrows Capital and whatever else. You can see that what happens is, this is a weekly. You can see that you don't start going up immediately. In this case, it took from here, and it took about 100 days, 120 days before we started seeing spikes. So for 120 days, we were just edging upwards. So it was just slightly more, slightly more, slightly more, slightly more. Does that remind you of anything that we've been going through? Get to 18,800, now we're 20,900.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can see, or what I'm seeing here, is I'm actually seeing a repeat of the last bear market, and you can see what happened in the last bear market. After about 120 days, we actually started to go up, and I think that'll be the September turnaround. So, and I think it's, again, what's going to turn around?
It's quite interesting. Like, look at this. Like, you know, we've had the long downtrending Bitcoin, and we've come very far from the original trends, and it's showing around September we can finally end the possible, you know, mess for you know, we'll see where we get from that, but it's quite interesting. A trend line's never lied with timing. That's one thing a trend line's never lied with.
Just circle that last fractal of yours over there. Circle that last. Yeah, just circle the since the big drop there. I just want you to compare that to this over here. Here we go. Let me just draw it for you. Here we go. Here's my paintbrush. Just look here. Look at that. Now show me on your chart.
This one here.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Like, I think we go sideways in range for a little while, and I agree with you. I think from September, maybe there's a little shake to, but come on, like even from here to 17, it's not really doing any more damage, like much more damage than what we've done. But it's quite interesting. A trend line's never lied with time. Like, it's really, really good with timing that something happens at that stage, and it's also showing September. So okay, so I'm starting to understand now. The Dixie now is actually doing us a bit of a favor right now. It's going to take, it does show that it is a little bit longer term. It's not like it's a good thing right now, but it will be good over the next few months, like when the markets and everything start to sort of recover.
Dixie's amazing for us right now. You can see growth stocks are seeing it. Bitcoin is now getting a little relief bounce because the Dixie is strong, and people are seeing what I spoke about yesterday. People are seeing it, and that's causing the markets to be happy. So I think this is the beginning of the relief bounce. And if you look at Bitcoin now, Sheldon, maybe on the short term,
I do agree that we might still have the lower low at some point if Bitcoin doesn't like really break out. But I still feel this makes sense. Then a possible shakeout, and then we can recover. But that makes sense to me first. Like, or not for, but like either we go there first now and then we go. But at least to here makes sense, and that's why we've been tracking down. I see the trend is broken for now. Guys are asking live trading. On the retest, guys. Now you got to allow. So I gave trades earlier, and those have all hit through. Now we got to wait for it to run, wait for it to come back, retest, calm down, and then we'll get in.
Hold on a second. Dupes. Yes. Dupes the bear. Are you also now in the bull camp now at 20,850?
At 20,000, where we are now, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I said yesterday's show that there's a chance that if we do break to the upside, then I think I was looking at 23K. If we make it above that, 25. But I'm struggling to see past that.
Okay.
I agree. I think it can go there. I think it can stay between 25 and 18 or even 16 for a while. That's a big ass range.
Amazing. Listen, stay with us, and if you are going to put through a live trade, just like stay in the thing.
Later. We want to make sure it is a breakout. So let the bad boy run. Everyone's in for now. On the next pullbacks, this is going to get fun. Like if we have a run to 25, 26K, it's going to be a lot of fun. The next 2-3 is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited, brother.
All right, wait in the waiting room. I'm going to just go through a couple of other things that are happening today. All right, so that's why I say I think we're looking good. I think September, look out for September. You've got enough time between now and September to get your portfolios ready. So on Monday, we'll do a portfolio show to get your portfolios ready for September, which is when I think this whole thing is going to end. If not, you can cut this part out. You can make memes out of it. That's what they'll do. They'll do that. They'll make memes out of it. All right, let's talk about other things that are happening today. I mean, I think even though this is a crypto show, we have to talk about Mr. Boris Johnson, who has now resigned.
We've got Boris Johnson speaking.
Should begin now, and the timetable will be announced next week. And I've today appointed a cabinet to serve, as I will, until a new leader is in place. So I want to say to the millions of people who voted for us in 2019.
So he gave a whole long speech and he finally resigned. I mean, for those of you who haven't been following why Boris Johnson has resigned, pretty much his whole party has resigned. He's just lost the whole party. And it just looks like, I mean, if I was reading this article over here, and if you look at why these people have resigned, I mean, one guy had groped two men. So Chris Puncher, a senior member of Johnson's government, was forced to resign after he groped two men on a drunken night at a private members club. Also, allegations that they were, well, not allegations, I think they were actually confirmed, that they were attending parties during COVID lockdown. So while the whole country was on COVID lockdowns, Boris Johnson was found to have broken the law. He was at a party in Downing Street. I mean, so that's what these people were doing while we were all in lockdown. So that's why he's gone. I mean, crazy what's going on. Crazy what's going on. All right, let's look at what else is happening in the market. So there was something that you guys should be very aware of, and that is Mt.Gox. So Mt.Gox, as you know, the Bitcoin that were in Mt.Gox are in the hands of a liquidator, and they've been in the hands of a liquidator for, I think, since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was about 2014 when the liquidator had the Bitcoin. Now, right now, today, the Mt.Gox Bitcoin, Mt.Gox have 141,686 Bitcoin and 142,846 Bitcoin Cash. So that's what these Mt.Gox liquidators have. And remember, what they have to do is they have to liquidate it and repay the debt to the holders at the time, back at the time. So these are very early stage Bitcoin investors that invested in Mt.Gox, lost their coins on Mt.Gox. Now the liquidators got them. And after all these years, remember at the time, Bitcoin was valued at like $400 or $300 or maybe $500, depending on the day. And now the liquidator has these coins that have been sitting there, but appreciated in value by huge. I mean, now the same coins that were at $500 are trading at $20,000. Anyway, they have now sent out this letter, which we got hold of. And it says that the rehabilitation trustee is currently preparing to make repayments to the people who were in Mt.Gox. So people who are in Mt.Gox will be repaid from approximately end of August this year until all of the repayments have been made. That means that you may see 141,000 Bitcoin hit the market. Or will you? Because remember, these all belong to old OG Bitcoin holders. And the question is whether these old OG Bitcoin holders, when they get this repayment from the liquidator, are now going to be selling. I don't think all are going to be selling, but you can be sure that some are going to sell. And this may be a buying opportunity when it happens. I also hope that this liquidator, who has been a very responsible liquidator in Japan, because Japan is a very Bitcoin-friendly country, I hope that the liquidator does this in a friendly fashion and doesn't just drop bombs of Bitcoin and all of a sudden create mass Bitcoin sales. But definitely something that you must keep your eye on. You have to keep your eye on this. It's quite a big story, which I don't think anyone's paying enough attention to. We have to be speaking about the Mt.Gox Bitcoin and when they hit the market. I know people have ignored it for a while. Hold on, I did invite a guest onto the show. Let's see if he's coming on. Okay, I'm going to just say I'm going to tell him to join us ASAP. All right, let's look at what else is going on. So let's look at Celsius. Celsius have finally repaid their loan and they've withdrawn their Bitcoin. So you can see now the liquidation price, which was going down and down and down, is now back at zero. And they've withdrawn the Bitcoin off. So here's all the repayments. They withdrew 21,962 Bitcoin, and now that loan can't be liquidated. So I've got a schedule of all the Celsius repayments, and what you can see is ever since they did suspend withdrawals, they have been depositing large amounts of money every single day. 28.1 million, 19 million, 6.6 million, 22.6 million, 6.2 million, 50 million. They just keep paying and keep paying and keep paying, and eventually now that loan has gone down to zero. All the DAI debt is paid down, and they've removed it. And what this guy says is they're probably setting up an OTC deal so that they can go into some kind of bankruptcy, like Voyager went into bankruptcy yesterday. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, on the one hand, the most logical explanation here is that they will at some point go into bankruptcy, but it's taking them an awfully long time to get to bankruptcy. And in the interim, what I've noticed is that they have adjusted their board of directors. So yeah, we'll talk about FTX. Mustafa is talking about FTX. We will talk about FTX. But what he says here is that Celsius's board now seems to have bankruptcy attorneys here, and what you can see is some people stepped up and some people stepped down. So let's quickly go and look at who stepped up and who stepped down. You can see that there's a termination of Gilbert Nathan, appointment of David Boss, termination of John Stephen, appointment of Alan Jeffrey, termination of Lawrence Anthony Tosi, appointment of John Stevens. You can see some went off and some went on. And apparently the guys that have come on have got large amounts of experience in liquidations and stuff like that. So you can kind of see that Celsius is positioning themselves. One thing that I did notice is one of these guys that was appointed, I read here, Dubel, his termination follows his appointment just 1 week earlier. And he is a restructuring attorney. So it was almost like he was appointed a week earlier, and a week later, sorry, we don't want you anymore. You're a restructuring guy. We want you guys out. We want you out. So that's what's happening with Celsius at the moment. I think that there is a chance that they're going to trade out of this somehow. I think if they were going to go into bankruptcy, I'm not that familiar with the laws, but I imagine that there is a law that says that if you know you need to go into bankruptcy, you need to go into bankruptcy as quickly as possible. You can't be trading bankrupt. I think that's a common law that we've got that there is in most countries. So that's the latest on the Celsius front. On the Voyager front, I mean, that was an ugly bankruptcy. Yesterday declared Chapter 11, which is not really bankruptcy as much as it is bankruptcy protection. It just gives them a chance to restructure without being declared bankrupt. That's pretty much what happened. Today, there's been some more FUD around them. And the FUD here is that they made a claim that they had FDIC insurance to protect their depositors in the case of company failure. And apparently now that's not really the case. It says, despite Voyager's claims, its bank says FDIC will not protect current customer USD deposits from bankruptcy. So that's now the latest. And then a lot of people are also talking about this FTX loan, or Alameda Research loan, $376 million that was loaned to FTX or to Alameda. We'll talk about that in a second. What I do want to do, though, is I want to bring in Scott Malcolm, because I know that he had a lot of his personal money on Voyager. Scott, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me on. Ironic that I get to now share my lost stories with you.
Well, I shared Luna with you, and now I think the easiest thing to do is just to reciprocate, right?
Yeah, of course, right back and forth.
So walk me through it. Walk me through where you're at. So, I mean, you had a big chunk of your money on Voyager. You had another chunk of your money on Volt, right?
Yeah, a smaller chunk on Volt and a much larger chunk on Voyager. I've been using Voyager since 2019. I was probably one of their first 500 or 1,000 customers. I met them at World CryptoCon with Charlie Shrem, actually. I believe it was in October of 2019. I love the team. I love what they did. And ironically, back then, there was no yield product. It was simply a broker-dealer. You weren't allowed to call it an exchange. They sourced liquidity basically from 20 different exchanges. And so I was using it strictly as my place to dollar cost average, to invest, and then to I moved a lot of the coins obviously into cold storage, as is my ethos and my belief. And, with time, that just sort of, with the market, continued to grow. And of course, they added the yield products, which were attractive. And so, at this point, I had quite a bit, a few $1 million on the platform.
What percentage of your total wealth did you have on Voyager? Of your total crypto wealth did you have on Voyager?
Well, it depends on the moment, but as I've always told people, I do manage my risk, and I believe in having most of my Bitcoin certainly in cold storage. So luckily, understanding that there was a chance things could go down, it was about 25 to 30% of what I have. But we all have sort of different crypto portfolios, and I was using Voyager largely as sort of my bank, right? So I was paying employees from those accounts. That's where I was sort of moving in and out as my main off-ramp, because it's not always that easy in the United States to find great ways to get in and out of the crypto market. So at various times, depending on what money I was moving where, I would have more or less.
Okay, now yesterday they announced Chapter 11. I mean, I think what's clear is that everyone's misinterpreting Chapter 11. You posted a newsletter about it. If you're not subscribed to Scott's newsletter, go and subscribe. It's on his Twitter profile. Chapter 11 is not actually bankruptcy. It's bankruptcy protection, right?
That's correct. So a lot of misconceptions, obviously, about what Chapter 11 means. Listen, I am going to go out on a limb and say, hey, I'm not a lawyer, but I called a whole lot of them yesterday, right? I obviously have a personal stake in this. My family, my friends are on Voyager. My followers are on Voyager, right? I've been talking about them since 2019, so I feel compelled and quite a bit of responsibility. But Chapter 11 is used for restructuring and reorganizing a company that gives them protection in a time to do that, right? If we were talking about Chapter 7 or likely Chapter 13, it would be more of a liquidation. Also, you can look at who Voyager has hired here, who they've added as directors and advisors, all the lawyers, all the people. They're all restructuring and reorganization specialists. None of them, not a single one, specializes in liquidations. That doesn't mean this won't get liquidated, to be clear. It just means that Voyager is of the belief that the best path forward for them is that they can be successful and should restructure and reorganize to do so. Now, I can tell you there's a few reasons you would do Chapter 11. One is that you would do Chapter 11 simply because you need to basically get that protection while you figure it out. You don't have it figured it out yet. The other reason is that a lot of suitors in situations like this, suitors being other companies that might want to do a deal. Now, Voyager has publicly disclosed there's up to 20 potential partnerships that they're seeking, maybe buyouts. It's been very unclear. But a lot of companies, when they buy another company, want that company to go through the Chapter 11 process for various reasons. Basically, you're allowing the government and the court system to do the due diligence process for you, saving yourself the money, and you're also clearing all of the previous liabilities and claims against that company. I know that, if Voyager had had lawsuits in the past for any various number of reasons, every one of these companies done, those are now null and void. And since they've now filed Chapter 11, you can't have, remember, BitBoy was talking about the fact that he was going to put together a claim against Celsius, right? He was going to gather everyone up. That can't happen when you're in Chapter 11. Nobody can go after them. So this gives them basically the time to breathe. And it likely means that they have a plan in place and potentially a partner or a buyout that, assuming this goes well, is already lined up.
But they outlined a plan yesterday. And as part of the plan yesterday, they said that depositors would get 80% of their money back, and then they get some mystical combination of a Three Arrows Capital right token, so to speak, and they'd get the VGX token, and they would also get some equity in a new entity, which is not the same entity as now. And apparently that deal has been declined by a lot of the, I think was it the creditors, was it the depositors, but that was declined. What are you hearing on that side?
Okay, well, first of all, if that was the final decision, I think all of us would be pretty pissed off if our Bitcoin and Ethereum turned into unicorn dust and peanuts and a bag of Skittles, right?
But you would have got 80% of your money back, which is amazing.
More likely, it looks like it would have been 60 to 70% based on the disclosures of the balance sheet right now. But to be very clear, there's something called a stalking horse, right? And this is very common in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And what a company will do is they basically put forward publicly, and I think we'll see over the next few weeks that the dialogue changes, they put forward the lowest possible bid or the worst case scenario, basically. And that sets a low bar for the partnerships or whatever buyouts they're doing in the future. So this is basically the worst case scenario that we will now see negotiated up, assuming that they find someone to buy them out or have a partner. So this is what it would look like if Voyager has no success in partnering with anyone, gets no bailout, gets no money from anyone else. This is the situation that would be, but that is not what is most likely to be the final outcome. Now, I'm not saying that everything is roses and that they end up 100% solvent and everybody gets their money back, but this is basically presented as the worst case scenario, barring a huge Bitcoin dump and the value of their balance sheet declining.
All right, so what are you expecting to get back, and when are you expecting to get it?
That is an impossible question for me to answer. I think I'm inclined to say from the people I spoke to, it will be faster than possible, weeks and low months, not years. And my expectation, if I'm being honest, is somewhere between the best case scenario and that worst case that's been presented. So maybe 80 to 85% of my assets. The question is, what will I be getting back? And that would have to be effectively litigated in court and a court decision, right? Do they liquidate all their assets and pay us back in USD? Oh, that's great if Bitcoin's at 10,000. It's terrible if Bitcoin's at 40,000, right? Yeah. Or do we get paid back in kind? Those are questions nobody can answer. And a lot of the things, by the way, that you mentioned earlier are sort of like unsubstantiated, strange, out of context FUD. How much Alameda loaned, how much Alameda needs, none of that is consequential at all.
while I've got you here and I'm looking at the 1 hour chart and I'm seeing this big green candle on the 1 hour chart, your thoughts on this little 1 hour chart and this big green candle? Is this a real breakout, or is this pump going to fail like every other pump that we've had in the last 3 weeks?
I haven't even looked at a chart, to be honest. I've been ignoring them as a part of my public mental health policy. But we do have a bit of a bear pennant that's been forming on the daily. And now as I'm looking, this is now pushing against that resistance. So this is really actually the core descending resistance on the chart if you're looking at a symmetrical triangle here at the bottom. So this is actually a pretty key moment. But it doesn't look like, looking at it, I'm looking at that daily. It does not look. Oh, we actually have a nice little hourly spike here. Could be real. Could be real.
Let's hope it is. We deserve it.
That it's more likely that we are bottoming than not likely. So I would not be surprised at all, certainly, to see us.
We deserve it, Scott. We deserve it, bro. After what we've been through, we deserve it.
Yeah, man. I agree.
All right, brother. Much love. Listen, guys, if you're not subscribed to Scott's newsletter, subscribe to his newsletter. If you're not subscribed to his channel, subscribe to his channel. Much love, my man.
Dude, thank you so much for the support. Always, Brand's always the first to check in. So, guys, absolutely amazing. I love what you're doing here, and keep it up.
Thanks, buddy. All right, so yeah, now we get a sense from one of the people on the platform about how he's feeling about getting his money back. I did want to talk about FTX, but I think we'll talk about that tomorrow. There is one other thing that I think we should talk about, and that is this bull market feels like every other bull market. This bear market feels like every other bear market. And I see two things which remind me so much of the worst part of 2018. The first thing that I see is people questioning their conviction. And remember that this bear market is designed to challenge your conviction. And you can see Mike McGlone, who's actually coming on to Banter tomorrow, but only if we don't play the get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. Because apparently at Bloomberg, they warned him and they said, you can't go on that channel because they played a song. Why are you muting my mic? Who's muting my mic?
No, it's not me.
Okay, so
It's probably Freddy.
he is coming on the show tomorrow. He is coming on the show tomorrow. It says Bitcoin could be Bitcoin could be one of the greatest bull markets in history at a relatively discounted price to start the second half. Or crypto may be a failing experiment in the process of being made redundant, like crude oil. Our bias is Bitcoin adoption is most likely rising. So you can see a lot of people are questioning whether this is a failed experiment. And that is what reminded me so much of 2018 bear market. Everybody's conviction was challenged, and only those that were buying when everybody else was being negative, they were the ones that came out of this and came out very well positioned in this bull market. So be like these guys. This asset has collapsed multiple times, and every time it just keeps getting up and doing a 10x. So you got to buy it when it feels like everybody's questioning this. And you got to be doing it. And I've been buying Bitcoin every single day. Every single morning I wake up, the first thing I do is I buy a Bitcoin. I just don't know if I bought one today. I know I bought one yesterday. I know I bought one the day before. I don't know if I bought one today. I should go and see that. I don't even look at the price. The other thing that reminds me very much of 2018 is people are trying to litigate. And in the bull market, investors make money. In the bear market, the lawyers are the ones that are making money. And now the latest litigation that I saw was actually against Multicoin and Solana Labs for selling the Solana token, which is actually a security, and then potentially dumping it. So when I saw that, it just reminded me so much of 2018, and it's a pity, but it's going to be much more lawyer season. So that's that. Shaldino Tentino.
Come on, brother.
All right, so look here. Our BYBIT squad, World Series of Trading BYBIT squad, we were placed in 225th position. We were 45th yesterday. We are 54th today. If you want to join the squad, Sheldon, first of all, Sheldon, you need to get your squad working because we need to be number one. When we
well, I feel like the everyone's been bearish and now they just got ripped. So now we sit and retest. We take our time now, and then we hit a beautiful streak. I feel it. So everyone's been bearish, brother. Everyone else saying now we're gonna shoot down. And when everyone's saying that, like, you know what I mean? It's just be aware. Like, I do agree. We have had fake outs. I agree very much. But be aware, because one of these days, the big ass relief is coming. And when it comes, it's going to shock everyone. And everyone's going to miss out the opportunity. So we'll get the streak, brother. And it's time to go live again. And it's time to start all these things. Let's let this pump cool down. And then it's time to trade the shit out of it. I know a lot of guys got it this morning.
Right, you're gonna go live. You're gonna go live when that happens, right?
Of course.
All right. So if you want to join us, if you want to join our sniper squad, first thing you do, sign up with our BYBIT link. The BYBIT link is here in the description. You can see it here. And then once you've done that, you just click on this squad here, and then you're automatically entered into our squad. If we win $1.8 million, which goes obviously to all of you guys, and we get another $360,000, which also goes back to you guys. So that's what happens if we win. Lastly for today, I don't know if you saw Crypto School. I dropped this on my Twitter. This is just a taste of how we're teaching network effects. And of course, network effects are something that everybody in crypto needs to know about. Let me know what you think about this lesson. I think it's one of the coolest lessons. I'll play it for you guys. It's a 3-minute lesson. I think it's really a cool way to teach network effects. Let me know what you think.
Most valuable companies in the world today. Ever asked yourself that question? Yeah, you're right. It's companies like Google, Amazon, Uber, Facebook. Those are the most valuable companies in the world today. What if I told you that all those companies had one thing in common? Now, yes, of course, they're all technology companies, but that's not it. All those companies are actually networks. Uber is a transport network. Amazon is a retail network. Facebook is a social media network. And Google is the world's biggest data network. But what is this word network? And why are investors willing to pay huge valuations for networks? Networks are ecosystems where each additional user that joins them adds value to the network. Let me give you a basic example. Let's use WhatsApp. We all use WhatsApp every single day. But let's imagine that there are only 2 users on WhatsApp, me and you. The maximum number of calls that can be made on our WhatsApp network is, well, 2. What happens if we add Sheldon into the mix? Well, now I can call you and you can call me. I can call Sheldon and Sheldon can call me. You can call Sheldon and Sheldon can call you. But don't be calling Sheldon. The maximum number in the network is now 6. So by adding 1 user to the network, we've increased the number of calls that we can make from 2 to 6. So we've increased the value of the network and we've increased it exponentially. Let me give you another example. Uber. The more users that use Uber, the more incentivized the drivers are to join Uber. And the more drivers there are that are joining the network, the shorter the wait times. And the shorter the wait times, the more users use Uber. And the more users that use Uber, the more incentivized the drivers are to join. And so we create this self-perpetuating cycle where every additional user that joins the Uber network increases the value of the network exponentially. These are just 2 examples of network effects, and there are many more. Google, Amazon. The more parcels Amazon is delivering, the bigger the delivery network, and the bigger the delivery network, the quicker your deliveries arrive. The quicker the deliveries arrive, the more likely you are to use Amazon. Networks are ecosystems where each additional user adds value to the network. And as the network starts to grow, it gains in momentum and it grows faster and faster and faster until it eventually becomes, well, almost unstoppable. Up next, we're going to learn about how network effects work and why they're so valuable.
So that just gives you an idea of the caliber of stuff that we're presenting at Crypto School.
Brother. Well done.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to your trading course on Crypto School. We're looking forward to your trading course coming up on Crypto School. Yeah, if you want to join Crypto School, but actually only if, James, is my Crypto School link here?
Of course.
Where, James?
In about 3 seconds.
No,
The James team changed the tile because the last time I looked at
yeah, he changed it. Okay, so if you guys know newbies that want to sign up for Crypto School, there is a referral link in the YouTube description, or there will be in about a second. It must be newbies. We're looking to get newbies and not guys that know about crypto. We do have a new cohort starting next week, and we're looking for a few more people to join the cohort. Remember, anyone that joins gets about, I think they get like over $3,000 worth of crypto if they join. So You actually do get paid to learn. That's how simple it is. Alrighty, so that's that. Tomorrow, we are also going to do a Solana giveaway. I'm not going to do it today because we're out of time. So if you're not part of our BYBIT link, join up on BYBIT. Tomorrow, we'll do a Solana giveaway. And we'll 10x a portfolio on BitGet tomorrow. How about that? All the descriptions are all the referral links are in the description below. We will see you guys again tomorrow, or if Sheldon trades, we may see you guys again later.
Yeah, guys, don't FOMO, eh? Wait, we'll get the pullback. Be patient, let it ride, and we'll catch it. We'll catch the retest.
All right, much love, brother. Much love, brother. Much love. All right, let's do this.
For that one, I deserve it. That's good.
So how much money are we deducting from your salary now?
None.
We said we
you
deduct
work for free for the next month.
All the things that we sold, I'm taking a holiday.
I mean, James is basically scoring own goals here.
We actually ran out of space in the description.